Hi everyone, thank you for coming to my channel, D versus Debt. This is D. I'm a college teacher turned college student for 1 year while I'm on sabbatical, and my money is stretched super tight. In fact, it's shrinking at an alarming rate. I'm getting very nervous about it. But I appreciate you being here and following my journey and watching me get creative with how I spend my money and try to grow my money. So here we go. It is Money Monday, which means I'm going to stuff my cash envelopes. But I wanted to point out a couple of things before I get going. You'll notice my setup looks a little bit different. I wanted to show off a couple of things that I got thanks to Jean Plan. So thank you so much again. I won her giveaway and I used that card. It was a gift card to Walmart to buy one of these snazzy little cash tray sorters. They're basically a makeup organizer. They're a palette organizer. But I've been noticing that a lot of people that do this type of video, YouTubers that do cash envelope stuffing, have it. And I was wanting one, so thanks to her, now I have one, which is so exciting. And these are the pens I talked about when I mentioned it last week. I've been wanting these pens forever. One of the people I idolize, Cindy from Llama Letters, go check out her channel if you haven't. She's amazing. I actually got to share a dance floor with her and dance a couple of songs with her during Go Wild couple years ago, which was like a dream come true. But anyways, I'm totally geeking out. So she had mentioned she loved these and I've been wanting to get them. I just haven't, wanted to cough up the money for it. So now I have it. And this is the cool thing about it. They're so thin and colorful, so they're going to be great for my planner. I can squeeze a lot of information in there and it looks good. But they come in this case and it's so cool because the case folds back. So then it becomes its own little stand. If you see, it's at an angle. So it sits on your desk at an angle and then you pull out the pens you want and you go and put them back in. So for those of you that are stationery nerds like I am, you're probably geeking out with me right now like, oh, that's so nice. So stuff like this makes my heart happy. So thank you, Gina, for making me happy with these awesome things that I got because of your super generous giveaway. So I super appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get into the cash stuffing. I mentioned money is shrinking at an alarming rate, so I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful with the way I spend it, especially after this weekend. I went a little bananas, so we'll get into that. Exercise envelope, my envelope of shame. Nothing went out. I didn't exercise again, and I know for sure I won't exercise this week, so yeah, we'll just move on and I'll hang my head in shame for a couple of seconds. Giving, I kept it the same. However, I realized I'd put a $20 bill in here, and then when I was out and about this weekend, I saw somebody at a table outside of Dollar Tree. Usually in the fall, there's always people in there. There's like multiple people before you can make your way into the door that are doing fundraisers and, busking, stuff like that. And so it officially started. There were a couple of people out there and I realized I have a 20. I can't just hand them over a 20 and have nothing to give the other person. So I broke it down into ones and fives so that I can help multiple people instead of just handing one person 20 and then the other person doesn't get anything. So I realized I needed to break that money down. So that's not getting anything this week. Cheat day. I had money saved up and I blew quite a bit of it. I only have $2 left. So I indulged in a comfort meal that was absolutely worth it. Came out to 17 and change, so I have $2 left. Remember, any $2 that I save go into my sad little exercise envelope. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those here. And I went to a Vietnamese restaurant in town. There's this amazing place called Thuy's Noodles, and she makes my favorite pho, chicken pho. So, traditionally it's pork and things like that, but I love the chicken one. The weather was perfect. It was cold. It was rainy. I was really stressed out from some stuff I was working on for my university class. And I'm like, okay, I want a really nice meal. So she makes amazing pho, and she also makes amazing spring rolls. So I indulged in that. That was an expensive meal, but totally worth it. So that means that this week I'm going to put in my usual 20. So I'm going to go ahead and take my money out of my envelope. And because I went out of town, remember there's no local bank. There's just an ATM that does 20s. So this weekend I went out of town and I got some 10s and 5s. So I'm going to put my usual 20 into my cheat meal. However, you're going to see in this one, I cheated and had another cheat meal. So treat yourself. I have now 20 bucks left. There were a lot more ones left here. So here's a confession. I bought another cheat meal. So Shai was talking about in her video that her daughter wanted Taco Bell. And I was like, well, I want Taco Bell. I haven't had Taco Bell in forever. And it got in my head. So I decided to go through the drive-thru. The funny thing is I had a bunch of ones in here and I said, okay, those ones are going to get stuffed into that exercise envelope that I've been avoiding exercising like the plague. So I'm like, I don't want to exercise. I don't want to put more ones in that envelope. So I used all of those ones. It was 8 ones to pay for my meal, which is hilarious because I avoided putting money in my exercise envelope by spending money at Taco Bell. So you can see how that's a double whammy. So yes, that was very, very naughty of me. So I've got $20 left. I went a little ham and I did treat myself. I had gone all over town and went to Hobby Lobby, bought this. I'm going to do a whole video on it. It didn't look like this originally. It's a lot thicker and the rings are different, but I realized I need a YouTube planner that I can show here because my real planner, the one I use for everything, has so much personal information, and so I can't bring it out and share it. Plus it's enormous. It covers up this whole space and you wouldn't be able to see anything. So I bought a little planner that was on clearance that even when it's fully open, it still is the right size for my recording screen. So I did that. I went to Dollar Tree. I basically bought myself a lot of little things, but I do have $20 left, but I do want to put in another 20 because that was so nice. It's been a stressful, time with school and, my dog surgery and stuff. So it was fun to buy myself a bunch of silly little things. Handyman, he's wiping me out. No money left in here. There was 60 left in there, and so now I have to build it up again. And I still have so much for him to do. So these dang weeds. I love the rain. Thank you, monsoons, for bringing life back to the desert out here in Arizona. But I'm looking forward to, now that fall's starting to creep in, for the weeds to go away, basically. And so for me to stop spending so much money on weed eating and all that kind of stuff. All right, thrifty. I had $20 in there. And now I have 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I only spent $2. This is actually at Goodwill. So the extra ones are going to go here to go into my exercise folder of shame or envelope of shame. So went to Goodwill, looked around. There was a couple of things that I bought there. It was literally 2 things, and so I only spent $2. So there are actually things that I'm going to be using for the channel. It's another tray to help me sort, and a little box that I'm going to use for the 100 envelope challenge because I'm about to jump into that big time. So I'll get into that in a little bit. My YouTube envelope, this one I did some damage to. And for thrifty, I'm not going to stuff anymore. I only spent $2, so it's not going to get more money. So YouTube, I have $20. And I only have 8 left. These ones go into that exercise envelope, means that only leaves me 5. So I decided I needed to zhuzh this up and make it look fallish. So I went out and bought at the dollar store, little white pumpkins. And actually my house got taken over by pumpkins. So even though it's like still 100 degrees sometimes here in Arizona, I'm just so ready for fall. So I have pumpkins in pretty much every room. I happen to love these white pumpkins. In real life, there's a pumpkin called Lumina that I think is just so pretty. But I have like a pumpkin takeover situation happening in my house where, again, almost every room's got pumpkins in it. But I figured I wanted to make this look a little bit fall-ish, so I, bought a couple decorations. I also bought stuff, though. I mentioned the 100 envelope challenge, so I bought a few boxes. I'm also going to do a video just on this coming up soon. And I bought a few more to make more stuff with and to use for other things. I bought notebooks, just basically a bunch of supplies. So that means I pretty much tapped out my YouTube folder. So I'm going to put in another 20 in there because I'm also trying to stock my Etsy store. So I need to buy stuff, you know, to make stuff. In fact, I broke my laminator I had finished this 100 envelope challenge box, was feeling so accomplished, wanted to start my second box for another challenge I want to do, and I broke the dang thing after only a few envelopes. So yeah, that's we won't talk about that because that's the second laminator I've broken. All right, my water bill is paid, and so that's why I have this paper in here. This is my receipt in case next month they're like, you didn't pay, and I'm like, oh yes I did, here's the proof, I got receipts. So I'm gonna put in 20, and I'm shooting for 20 every week, and then cash it in when I go pay it once a month. So got it's 20, it's gonna sit there. Now it is time for the bingo challenge to see how much is going to go into here. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel. So I'm laughing because I swear, you guys, there was no funny business. But the hilarious thing about drawing number 14, and let me go ahead and mark it out on my bingo challenge board, is the fact that I only have $15 left in my hustle envelope, which is so perfect. But again, it's like, no, you guys are gonna think I tried something funny. I swear I didn't. So that's perfect. There are only $15 left. If I drew the number 15, I would have just like, oh my gosh, I would have gone straight out and bought a lottery ticket. So I need to make change. So I'm not going to steal one of these leftover ones for my exercise envelope that never gets used. So yeah, we'll just not think about that too much. So there's $1 left in my hustle envelope. That means I have to hustle because for next week there's $1 left and I already drew one. So that means I'm not going to have money to stuff my savings envelope with a challenge. So I have to go out, and this is great. This will motivate me to finally get off my butt and go out and sell some stuff. I've got a Coach purse that I think I'm going to take to the store that buys stuff and resells it. They hardly give you any money, and the lady's so snooty, one of the employees there. So she actually makes me really feel bad about myself when I go in there. But when I'm desperate, I do, and I think I'm going to just sell that Coach purse. I hardly use it. It's just sitting there in the closet, taking up space and looking pretty, but you know, I need some money. I have some old beat up little necklaces from like 20 years ago that have just been sitting around, and so I might also just take those to the place where I sell gold and be like, can you test these to see if they're actually gold, and if they are, can you buy them? So even if it's only a little bit, you know, it's something. So last time I was cleaning out drawers, emptying out like my drawers, decluttering and stuff. And I found like one sad little earring. I couldn't find its match, and it was a little like dangly heart, and I knew it was gold. So I took that one earring there. It's kind of embarrassing. Like, here, I want to sell this. So they tested it to see what, you know, is it 10 karat, 14 karat, you know, whatever. And then they weighed it, and then they gave me something like $5 because it was tiny. I'm like, I don't even know how to explain how small it was, but you know, that was like $5 I didn't have before. So that's what I might end up doing with the hustle. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. So this is going to go into my challenge envelope. So open this bad boy up. Oops, it was already open. And let's see what that works out to. That's so funny though. It creeps me out, but at the same time, it's exciting when things work out, you know, almost perfectly in this case. So let me go ahead and count. I've got 20, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. Ooh, 84, like the book. 1984. All right, so that's 84 out of a goal of 325 that I'm shooting for when this gets filled in. So I'm pretty happy with that. But again, that means I have to do something, sell something, you know, sell blood, bodily fluids, you know, whatever. There's that plasma center also that I can go to if I, you know, want to add some more money to my hustle envelope. So we'll see what I end up doing. That means now for my sinking funds, I have 10, 15, 20 left. Let me see. Again, I'm going to have to get creative and stretch out those 20s to see what I want to do. So I've got home, I've got gifts, and I have unbudgeted. And this is where I'm struggling. I think I'm going to ignore home beautification and all that can wait. Gifts, I'd seen somewhere like if you save, you know, starting from a couple weeks ago, $20 every paycheck to a Christmas fund, then you'll have, you know, about $300 for Christmas, which is exactly what I wanted. So I should stuff the 20 into there. And then unbudgeted, I've got, let me see, I've got 40 in there. So I think that's a pretty safe amount. So I'm going to put it into gifts. I don't want to ignore that folder. And again, it's September and I have a niece with a birthday in September. So all 20 then are going to go into here. So that's what I had budgeted aside to stuff for this week. That means I have to put the ones into my exercise. So let's see, I took out, so this is basically rollover money from my spending. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that got taken out. Oh wow, remember I had spent 8 as well at Taco Bell, so this would have technically been 16, but I had to, you know, get my Taco Bell on. So that's going to go into my exercise folder. Like I said, for sure I'm not going this week, but next week we'll try to make it happen. We will make it happen. I got to take a different attitude with that. All right, so that is it for my cash envelope stuffing. Notice I have money left over in my fancy little cash holder. I just wanted to use it basically as a prop this week. This is actually the money that is going into my envelopes next week because I was doing the math, I was crunching numbers, and I took out what I needed for this week as well as what I need for next week. So I'm trying to stay a week ahead. So this money is not going to get touched. If you notice, I stuffed 120 this week, and that's exactly how much I have budgeted for next week. So it's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 110, 115, 120, because that's what I'm going to be working with next week. I really had to come up with a set of numbers like, okay, I can have 120 a week for cash stuffing for a while. I have a budget of $50 a week for groceries. I have a budget of $25 for gasoline, $25 for, you know, home stuff like cleaning, supplies, you know, home stuff. So this is going to go back into my sinking funds one. So as you can see, I had the empty one for this week and now the one that's ready for next week, because I just want to make sure that I have all my money socked away and that I don't spend anything that I'm ready for next week. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week, and next video I will get into depth with my YouTube planner, and then after that I'm going to go into depth about my 100 envelope savings challenge and what I'll be using for it. I'm actually doing challenges. All right, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and have a very happy Monday.